I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Very good morning to you. By the time you'll be watching this video, events will have gone in another direction. Most probably I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting now. But let me just tell you what happened this morning. I left Warri, where I went to preach, very early. I left by around 6:30 because I anticipate that there will be traffic. This morning it rained and you can still hear rain in the background. I anticipated that it would cause traffic jam. So I left very early. Even without the rain, I had already told the people who were coming to carry me from the hotel to come call me by 6 o'clock. By 5:20 something, I had woken up, gotten dressed. As they were coming, I anticipated that I will need a bag to carry some of the stuff that I need to carry. So I called them, as you are coming, get a polythene bag or any bag that I will use to carry my stuff. So then as they came, we got into the car and started driving towards Warri. Fair enough, as predicted, the traffic was light and there were streets we could not pass on time. Pass easily. 30 minutes from that time that we left there, or 1 hour from that time that we left there, we passed them very easily because there was little traffic and people had not woken up. And as I was coming, it started raining heavily at Agbara. So I called my wife to open the gate, tell her assistant, her personal assistant, to hold an umbrella. By the time we got to my gate, the gate was open. The lady was set with an umbrella. So they parked the car where I could come out without getting wet. I told the lady to cover the people who brought me with an umbrella. They could bring my things out easily. That is anticipatory living, predictive living. One of the lessons I learned from my wife is that she is able to prepare for things, for problems that have not happened. She prepares for problems that have not happened. Where I am sitting now, the tiles on the floor, we bought them for 6 years before we used them. There is a toilet door here, the restroom that is here. We bought that door 6 years before we used it, and we kept it somewhere with other doors. And so I bought this land when I was a tenant. I was anticipating that land would become expensive, so I bought 4 plots of land of 50 by 100. So I live on 4 plots of land of 50 by 100. And I have a poultry in the space there where I rear birds and sell eggs. I anticipated that land was going to be expensive later in this town. So I started buying large spaces. What am I trying to say? I try to live ahead of my problems. When I hear people call me, my son is trying to do write exams, school certificate exam, living school certificate exams in the secondary school. This child was in JSS 1, JSS 2, JSS 3, SS1, SS2, SS3. You did not think, you did not plan for or about the way you are going to pay his fees and his exam fees. It is 2 weeks to the exam. You want to create an emergency for me out of your stupidity. You want to create an emergency for me that has planned his life well. There are times people will send me a message that they are about to deliver. Pregnancy is not an emergency. Pregnancy gave you 9 months notice. You cannot use your negligence, your planlessness to create pain for me. So I always plan and anticipate ahead. And that predictive ability has so much helped me that I analyze circumstances and I can tell you what might happen. Before the emergence of Peter Obi in Labour Party and NNPP, I said that the rate at which APC and PDP parties are going, that the Apoki polythene bag theory is going to happen, and that a third force was going to emerge, and the third force is already emerging. And so a revolution is taking place now. The youths are dissatisfied with the status quo, and you see massive mobilization to register for their PVC, their permanent voters card, and it's going to give a run for their money to APC and PDP. So always anticipate. I have extra classrooms in my school. I built, and we anticipated that there is going to be a population increase, and we planned ahead. Now the problem with most Africans is that they live an outsourced life. They outsource their life to God. But God put man here on earth to be responsible, to cater for the needs of the world. The first duty of man, the first commandment of man was responsibility. And responsibility involves anticipating the challenges of the future. Look at Moses. Moses was in the wilderness. The first incident they had the challenge of water. At the waters of Mara, they had bitterness. And Moses did not plan for the people to drink water after tasting the bitter water in the first instance. And so the people needed to complain. Then they got to another place, they were thirsty. Moses struck the rock and water came out. They had gotten to another place. Moses knew that the desert was hot, the people had animals, they had their children, and he did not plan ahead. He did not consult God far ahead how he would get water. And then when the complaints came, Moses reacted aggressively and struck the rock and missed the opportunity to enter the promised land. Don't wait until problems confront you. As I sit here, if any of my child wants to wed, I have a hall in my school that my wife planned far ahead that can seat 300 people. The chairs belong to us. The musical sound system we have. We have catering equipment that can handle any of the ceremonies we do in my school. My wife thought far ahead. She has this ability to create solutions for problems that have not arisen. And so we don't get stranded. We don't get emergencies. Any emergencies we have experienced, they come from other people that created them for us. So if you go to Europe, you will see that they have long-term plans. They have anticipatory plans. And then you see sometimes, you see them just do drills. They do drills for terrorist attack. They do drills for chemical attack. They do drills. Why are they doing drills? They are anticipating a problem and they are preparing ahead to solve that problem. The problem with leadership in Africa and leadership in Nigeria is that people are too concerned about what they can steal, how to help their cronies, how to enjoy the loot, how to self-aggrandize and live like monarchs in a democratic system, that they don't anticipate the needs of the people. You see the permanent voter card registration. There are such large crowds, so many people gathered. They did not think far ahead of how people are going to register, how to deploy staff, how to decentralize the system. So we always react, we always do things late. There was a time Nigeria went to play a match. They forgot their jerseys, so they had to cut tracksuits to play a match. We don't think far ahead. I always plan far ahead. I think far ahead. I have enough spaces to carry any project I want to do. Where I'm building, I would build the school at Okokoko. My co-in-laws and my wife's relatives were selling their own, selling and buying cars and staying in hotels and doing parties and buying wrappers. anticipated that that place was going to be a major city, and I did not sell mine. The ones I sold were to train my children, send them overseas, because I also anticipated the current situation in the country, that the elite will send their children to universities overseas, get the best of education, and then their children will come back and rule the children of the poor who they have destroyed their universities. So the Bible says, do not be ignorant of the devices of the enemy. That is, you should plan ahead of the devil, plan ahead of Satan, plan ahead for disasters. So anticipatory living. Anticipatory living. Look at NATO. They did not anticipate that Putin was most likely going to invade Ukraine. When Biden was saying that Russia would invade Ukraine, Zelensky said that he should not whip up sentiments. But Russia has invaded Ukraine, and now Ukraine is crying for weapons. If the weapons were there and there was preparation, if Putin invaded, Ukraine would have been more prepared. They would have had planes on ground. They would have brought MiG planes from MiG-19 planes from Poland and trained pilots on how to use them. Put anti-aircraft machines and put interceptors that they will have used to intercept missiles coming into Ukraine. So don't live this life of emergency. People will tell me, pray for me, my husband is this, that. No, I think far ahead. When I made that post about the reality of aging, how I want to be buried, I think about death every day. I think about my exit every day. I think about how I will leave this world. I think about the problems that I will leave behind. My greatest concern now is how to set up a trust fund of how the legacies I have built with my wife can be managed, even if we are not physically involved. So do you plan ahead? Do you think ahead? Do you prepare ahead? Most of the prayer points we have in Africa are not as a result of negligence, as a result of planlessness, as a result of outsourcing our responsibilities, as a result of how will I call it? Unreasonable optimism. People will say that I am not optimistic, that I'm a pessimist. No, I have optimistic pessimism. That is, I have hope for a great future, but I also plan for anything that can go wrong. So live with anticipatory living, predictive living, preventive living, and plan far ahead. Live intentionally. Don't be an emergency. If you live casually, you'll become a casualty. I am my friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I'm going to do my next broadcast from another city. God bless you. God bless you real good.